Hey everybody, it's Charles, your hobby hero, and today we've got our first pre-screen CGC comic unboxing. Before we get started though, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I do appreciate it. Put out regular content about the hobbies I love the most. So today we're going to be jumping into this big bad boy right here. If you're not familiar with CGC, they are a company. I've done a couple videos here on the channel that encapsulate and professionally grade all sorts of comics and collectibles. This particular submission was what they call a pre-screen submission. To qualify for a pre-screen, you have to be submitting at least 25 books, and I believe we're right at 25 for this submission. And then you can set a grade that says, hey, if this book does not grade at least this, I do not want to finish the grading process for the encapsulation and so forth. You may be asking yourself, why would anybody do this? Well, to save cost and to not devalue the book. So sometimes you miss damage on the book, or it doesn't quite grade as high as you think it should, and that can actually devalue the book. Some books are actually worth more in near mint raw condition than they would, let's say, a 9.0 or a 9.2. So you can set a grade qualifier saying that, hey, anything that's not at least this grade, I don't want to grade. Also, to save cost, the actual cost to encapsulate and fully grade the book is somewhere around $22 on that, plus the increased shipping for the extra weight, obviously. Whereas a pre-screen book is right around $8. So they take a look at the book. You say, hey, if this is not at least a 9.8, I don't want this to be graded at all. They see it, they look at it, there's a defect on it that will prevent it from getting a 9.8. They send it back, only charge you $8, and so forth. So I will say this. This was my very first submission on pre-screen. I have learned a lot since this submission. This submission was sent back in say January, February, March. Yeah, received in April for them. So you're looking at about 6 months ago before I sent this one in. So I learned a little bit more about the fine intricacies of the differences between like a 9.8 and a 9.6. But hey, everything, there's no such thing as mistakes. They're all learning experiences, and you get to learn off of my mistakes. So even better for you guys. These books were all pressed before they were submitted, so I did get a little probably overconfident on my pre-screen grades. We'll take a look at the books that got rejected, see how I feel. I'm not throwing the presser under the bus at all. A lot of these books were newsstand equivalents, so handled a little bit harder than stuff that I would buy personally off the rack. So without any more ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this unboxing. Alright, so I have already seen the grades on these books. You guys obviously have not. I'll put the current market value of each of these books at the bottom of the screen as we're going through them. It won't be a very long video on the graded ones, but we are going to open up the ones that did not pass the screening and kind of give you my thoughts on, hey, I definitely should have caught this, or this may be a book that I try to resubmit and see if maybe I just got a grader on a bad day. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. First things first, now you can set the grades to different grades, so not all of these are going to be guaranteed 9.8. So if it's a slab that I put up there, I don't want you to think, oh, hey, what's going on? So it's a pre-screen. You can pre-screen it for anything, so do your research. If it makes sense, even if it's a 9.6, it's still worth, having it slabbed. Go for it. If it's one of those things where anything of 9.0 on some of the older books really drives a high premium, go ahead and go for it. Especially if you've already paid somebody to press it, there's probably little to no chance of improvement for that to go. So first book up is Tales of G.I. Joe in a 9.6. This is the reprint of issue 1. Now I picked this book up. Honestly, I found it in a bin. I think I paid like $3 for it. It looked really, really clean. Spine is almost perfect. There is maybe just a hint. See that up there? And you can't see the spine there. Maybe a hint of a spine roll. So that may have been what prevented it from getting the 9.8. But other than that, perfectly good looking copy. Especially if you can't get the original number 1 of that particular book. So 9.6 on that book there. Alright, next one up is Ultimate Spider-Man number 1 and a 9.2. So this one actually was just a mistake on my part. This one actually graded much lower than I would have thought it was going to. I submitted this with one other Spider-Man book, and whenever I was setting the pre-screen requirements, I had set this one to a 9.6 and the other one, I thought, to a 9.0. I went back and checked the invoice, and I had flipped those two, and I had set this one for a 9.0 and the other one had a 9.6, which it absolutely did not get, and I knew it wouldn't get a 9.6. So that was just a mistake on my part here, but I'm very surprised. This one came back at a 9.2. It looked very clean. There are some spine stresses. I think I see 2 small spine stresses. Now this one is a polybag book, and it doesn't look like he quite got the polybag crease out of the book on this particular one. So that's unfortunate. I can still see the polybag lines. I doubt I'll be able to get them to show up on here. Maybe if I get the light on it. Yeah, you can see it there. That right down like the sides of his eyes. There are 2 lines right there that are the polybag crease. So it doesn't look like he was able to get those out. There's 1 color breaking spine tick and probably, I'd say, about 4 to 6 spine stresses on it. So like I said, I really thought this was going to be a 9.6 candidate, at lowest a 9.4, but not being able to get those polybag lines out is a pretty big hit to the grade. I'll take a look at it. I don't know, it may be one of those things where they can't come out, or it may be one of those things where humidifying it and giving it another press might be able to get the remainder of those out. Next one up is we have the Walmart second print exclusive of Strange Academy. This particular cover is exclusive to the Walmart 3-packs that we've opened up here on the channel. Second print one here, you can tell from the text color there, but like I said, these display very, very nicely. I submitted several of these over a couple of different submissions. I don't know how many were submitted in this one, but I wanted a 9.8 for my collection, which I have here, and then I'll be putting the rest of those up for sale as well. Very high spec book. They've all, I think, but confirmed that that show is wanting to be made, so definitely one that you want to pick up now before it's too late. I think the next several of these are the same book, so we'll go through those here pretty quickly. We've got Planet of the Symbiotes number 1. This is the Walmart exclusive. I absolutely love this cover here, and this is one I submitted 8 in this order. I picked up a lot of these because with that black on the cover, I knew it was going to be a hard one to get in a 9.8, even with a clean and a press. And I was not wrong. Only about 50% of them came back in the 9.8s on this go around. The cover actually blew up a little bit more than I was expecting. That's something you kind of have to, when this first came out, I love the cover. I knew other people would love the cover. But I did expect people would only have interest in it in a 9.8. And honestly, the comps for a 9.6 were pretty solid as well. But when I did set that minimum grade requirement, I went ahead and just set it for a 9.8. Not really thinking that there would be much of a demand for anything lower than that afterwards. So sometimes you get pleasantly surprised with that. But in this particular case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, like I said, this cover is absolutely awesome. And again, just for display purposes, I love how clean it is. No barcodes on the front, very minimalistic. And then, like I said, just a nice plaque-esque back on those as well. If you guys haven't already picked one up, you can still find raw copies fairly inexpensively. And like I said, the graded copies are already got a nice premium going for them. If you just want it and to be done with it, go ahead and pick up one of those 9.8s. This is another one. I actually just absolutely love this cover here. And this is Valkyrie, I think Valkyrie number 1. This is the second printing. And again, just Jane Foster, very well displayed on here. When she comes to the big screen, I do think this book is going to get a little bit of traction because, like I said, even though we know she's coming, I said, as she's on the big screen and people start to go for it, they're going to go look for covers that really display her well, and I think this book is going to see a little bit of traction when that comes around. If not, it's a great looking cover, and I will not mind having it in a 9.8 as my piece of Jane Foster memorabilia there. And the last of the slabs for this video. So if you are not interested in learning about what not to do going forward, you can turn off right after this. Another book you'll see in a lot of the submissions that we have coming up here is Star Wars The High Republic, number 1. This is the Walmart exclusive variant in a 9.8. I think I only submitted one of these this time. I did pick up, I think, a total of 12 this cover. Just like I said, Walmart exclusives are our generation's newsstands. As time goes on, it is going to be very hard to find them in high condition. If you've ever bought these Walmart comic books, even when they're put on the shelves, a lot of times they're slumped over on each other, just creasing the spines, just completely reducing the chances of them being 9/8. And if they sit on the shelf for any amount of time at all, it further reduces that. So you really have to be there whenever they drop, snag the ones that you want, and get them put up quick. And even then, no guarantees. Like I said, we submitted a bunch of other ones that we'll see in here too that did not make the cut, even with a press and a clean. So excited I got this one right out of the gates, and hopefully there'll be lots of other 9.8s to come. All right, so here is our reject box. I actually think I have 2 reject boxes. They sent another box with it. I don't think it's another submission that I know of. So it's never a good thing when they have to send you an extra box just for your rejects. But we're gonna hop in here. We're gonna look at these, take a look at what I sent in, why I sent it in, and take a look at them and see if it was fair that they were rejected, or if we think it was a little unfair that they were rejected. Now, I will say this: when I submitted this one, I was definitely operating under the impression that if you're dealing with modern books, that you must absolutely press anything that is going out, and so I did. And then as you learn more about what they're looking for, you do not necessarily have to press them. I have my own press now, so I do tend to be a little more, I guess, aggressive on the pressing, unless a book is just obviously, flawless as far as what can be pressed and what can't be. But I'm glad I did, because I would have definitely had felt worse about having 16 rejects, possibly even more, if there had not been a press that was done on the books as well. Alright, so first one here, this is the one that I had messed up on. This is the Spider-Man number 1, the one that I had submitted for a minimum grade of a 9.0 on that. And the reason why is this corner here. This is my personal book. You can see it pretty well there, though. I don't know when that happened. I could have bought it like that. Back then, I did not care as much. My collection just kind of bounced around. Some of my books sat in the backseat of my car, or died in the backseat of my car. But this one was supposed to be set at a 9.0. That's really the only defect that is on there. So I wanted to see if I could get it squeezed in there, but I switched it and put it as a 9.6, and obviously that is not going to get 9.6. Yeah, another one too. I think just like on the pressing, I definitely think these were probably all quick pressed without any humidity, and that definitely has some opportunity to come out a little bit more on that one. We've got one of our first rejects for the King in Black. This one does have some spine stresses on it up here at the top that did not press out. So again, probably a book that would not have been sent in at a 9.8 pre-screen if I had known more about what a quick press would get out and what would not. Another Planet Black. Got like a really small color breaking spine tick. I would have not thought that would prevent it. I wouldn't even be able to show you this one on the camera here, I don't think. This may be one for the resubmit pile. So we'll set this one off to the side here over by the slabs. That is, I definitely have slabs that have more going on for them than that, and then still got a 9.8. This one's got a ton of spine stresses on it. Not color breaking spine ticks, but where you can still see a crease, it just doesn't break color. Sometimes you can get those out with some humidity and a tack press. I'm guessing the gentleman I sent them to did not do that, or at least did not have any luck getting those out on that one. Last one of the Planet of the Symbiotes does have a spine stress. Might be another one here too for a resubmit. Yeah, no color rub or anything like that. It's another thing you have to watch out for in those jam-packed 3-packs. Yeah, it looks like just a little bit of a spine stress. That might be another one, like I said, we can resubmit. We have 2 Strange Academies. This one says this bottom corner, it looks like it might have actually gotten dinged up in shipping. If you can see, here, let me get it out of the bag with the board. So the bottom corner right there, kind of dinged up, but so is it on that one there. So that's one thing. If you're sending them to get pressed, it's going to be in the mail quite a bit. So you gotta watch out for stuff like that, unfortunately. Really pretty slight. So it might just happen when it got mailed to them. I don't really see anything else on here, so might be another one for a resubmit. Second Strange Academy. Second printing here. I don't know what they saw on this one. That spine is perfect. Let me check the back here. No color rub. There's like a little indentation here, but that should press out pretty easily. Yeah, there's 2 small indentations on the back, almost like fingernail marks. I don't know if I can get them. Yeah, you can see it right down here, and then there's one like right over in here. So I'm guessing that's what did it. Again, something else that should press pretty easily. And then for a resubmit, something I'm honestly surprised it didn't get knocked out with the quick press. But sometimes, like I said, even on modern books, you got to get a little bit of humidity on them to get them to press out. Now these 2 I was a little surprised on. They were Spawn #1s. I submitted both of these with expectations of a 9.6 or better after pressing. And I don't know, honestly, what would have kept them for that. They're both the misprints. If you don't know the misprint one, it's not uncommon, but the Spawn face is all messed up and muddy instead of being nice and clean. This one's got one spine tick, two spine ticks, there's some color rub on the back. I don't know why. And so this is something I definitely would not have sent in without looking at it first. I mean, you can look, if I can get it to show up here. There's, I mean, it's just a dirty back. Something very easily cleaned up. We'll get that, yeah, especially over here on the spine. Lots of just color transfer from other books. But yeah, that one's pretty obvious on why that one didn't get it as soon as I flipped it over. So we'll need to get that one cleaned up, resubmit on that one there. Let's check out this one here. I think this is my actual personal copy that I had back there on the wall for forever and a day. I don't see two spine stresses, maybe. There's some more spine stresses down here. Those should come out with a little bit of humidity and tack iron. Actually a pretty decent indentation on the front here. I don't know if I can get the light to hit it up in his cape area. Right on his hand, actually. This hand right here. Let's see if I can. There it is. Yeah, right there. Again, not sure why that wouldn't have come out with a press. Back is pretty clean on this one, so this is just going to be another one. Just needs a little bit of humidity, and should be able to get the rest of those stresses off the book there. If you are going to be doing a lot of submitting like this and you have the time, I do highly recommend investing in a press yourself. Again, this 25 books here, it's $250 just to press, plus the extra shipping and insurance. Obviously, with my own press now, I can save myself on there. Plus, you just gotta do the extra work. Like stuff like that, you know, if you send it off to somebody and they do a quick press, they've done what they've been paid for. They're probably not gonna take it through a second press or humidity or cleaning, even easy cleaning. Sometimes won't get done, so you gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. And you know, use that stuff to your advantage. Yeah, it takes time, but it saves you money, and you get to only submit stuff once and kind of be like, hey, this thing isn't going to be any better than this because I you know, pressed this thing 10 times, etc. Next one up, new X-Men here. I actually found this one at a Goodwill for 99 cents. First appearance of Phantom X, obviously an awesome cover. Got quite a few spine ticks on it. I think this is just one that honestly, like, these stresses didn't come out at all with the press either. The expectation was just higher than what was possible for this book. The back, actually, most of them don't wrap around, so that's kind of a good thing going for it. But, I mean, I'm pretty sure I submitted this with a minimum grade of 9.8, which just, it had no chance of getting it in a 9.8. And again, I found it in basically a bucket of 99-cent comic books. Honestly, in this shape, this is probably something I would just press and sell raw as a high-grade copy, because I would imagine what it's going to come back at for a modern book just isn't going to be worth the premium on there. But that's something, again, that you've got to learn. You see these spine creases on here, and you're like, oh, if that's the only problem with it, you can press those out, and it'll come back, 9.8, and win the day. But you don't realize how resilient some of those are. Some of them can't be taken out. Some of the color fade. Corners aren't real sharp. This is a book, honestly, in its best condition, might squeeze out a 9.0, and for a modern book, probably not going to be worth the extra cost to get it sent back in and graded. Alright, next one was a new one. I was actually surprised to see this on the reject list. This is Batman 106. This one I bought off the rack, and obviously checked pretty closely before I bought it off the rack. I don't see anything on the front, so for it to be off the rack and then pressed, well, there is, kind of hard to say, right on the very lip here, I don't even know if you'll be able to see it, there's a little bit of like somebody took their fingernail and just ticked it up a little bit. I don't know if that's what caused it to get the decline. There's a little bit of color rub on the back by the staple here. That's usually where you'll need to look if you're looking for color rub. Staples are going to be the worst offenders. Yeah, I'll have to take a look too. Like, I don't know if these are stars in the skies up here or if it had color transferred off. There's some spots on here where it looks like it may have transferred off. And honestly, I hate to say it, but now that I'm looking at it, like, there are a whole bunch of lines on it. I hope that's not from his pressing machine. That would be unfortunate. It does happen if you have like an unclean backing board or something on there. Let's see if I can get it to show up in the glare. Well, where'd our glare go? There it is. I think, yeah, you can see it. It's clear on this bottom strip here, but then right in here, it's lined all the way through here. You see it there? Yeah. So that may have had that. I mean, that's some pretty deep stuff on there. So that's unfortunate. I don't know if that's on the front or not. That'd be pretty telling if it was on both sides. It doesn't appear to be, but again, on a quick press, it may have been just a dirty plate. You just don't know. Without seeing the setup or without knowing what's going on with it, it may have been like that already. I mean, it could have been something where it rubbed off from the back of a previous board. Another one that was surprising, Magic's The Gathering. This is the ash can that was sent out. Now, I'm glad I did set it at the 9.8 because that's really the only version of this book that is holding any value is the 9.8. Let's check this one out. Looks pretty good on the front here. Well, there's like one little spine stress. Again, big difference between a spine stress and a spine crease. Spine stresses, you can usually reduce or sometimes get all the way out. There is a very small color breaking spine tick on the back side. Boom Studios, if you're listening, stop making all your covers black. It's ridiculous. And it's got spine stress with it. I think if we can get that spine stress out, I think it does have a good chance of that spine tick being small enough to not flag anything on there. Alright, next two up. I'm actually pretty surprised these came back as well. I actually had a couple of issues with CGC on this one, and I think that might have been why these were rejected. And you're going to see these and be like, why did he submit this? This is History of the Marvel Universe. So I don't know if you can tell. We'll get it right up close there. I think this is probably the darker of the two. The cover A is actually printed like a ghost printing of it on Storm's skin. There you go. You can kind of see Spider-Man on her chest there. But you can see it all through her skin if you look closely enough. Where I guess their roller just wasn't cleaned well enough, and it looks like she's tattooed. It doesn't really show up anywhere else on the book, and I'm guessing CGC knocked the grade on that because of it. Well, there's quite a few spine stresses on this one too that look like they didn't come out with a quick press. I will probably resubmit these though to CBCS. Because CGC basically told me they will not designate it as a variant. They will give it a green label. or dock the grade for the error that is on it. Whereas CBCS will document it as a manufacturing error, and it will still have that blue label and a note denoting what's going on with it. This one has got just a ton of stresses on the spine. Again, like not color breaks, but stuff you would think would come out from a good quick press. I'm not thrilled with the pressing results from this particular presser. I'm not going to mention the presser. I don't want to slander him. I know he does a lot of good work out there. I've seen a lot of his other stuff, but his quick press definitely did not have the desired results that I would want. There's several of these books that I think a real press and clean will definitely increase the chances of them being a 9.8 candidate. Next one up here is Spider-Man Noir. This is the first appearance of Spider-Man Noir. Kind of the ultimate irony is this is the variant cover. I paid extra for the variant cover back when these things first came out, and it is actually worth substantially less than the cover A. But it's my first appearance of Spider-Man Noir. I actually do prefer this cover for that. I'm kind of surprised. Okay, there's a indentation on it. This is a cardstock cover, so not a whole lot you can do with indentations once they're on there. It's a pretty light one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh well, no, there's a little bit of a tear in the back corner here too. So not going to be a 9.8 candidate. I'm going to assume that was all there before. I don't know. Like I said, some of the stuff got bounced around shipping. I know I was told one of my orders arrived at the pressers. The box was pretty rough. I don't remember which order that was. When I packed these things up pretty well, and they had mentioned that the comics didn't look damaged. But again, even in the best packaging in the world, if it's getting jostled around, like there's still room for the comic to move inside and ding something up. And last one here is Venom, number 2 homage cover to Spider-Man 300. Got here. Got another spine stress on the spine. Maybe a little bit of color rub on the back. Yeah, there's a bit of color rub pretty much down the whole spine on that one there. Probably too much for it to be a 9.8 candidate on that particular book. And again, it's another book where this one's really only worth the extra premium if you can get the 9.8. I think that's actually, double check my counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 16. So what is this other box from CGC? There's a slab in here. There appears to only be one. I don't have anything scheduled to be coming back. So this is a surprise. So we have one slab and looks like maybe a reject or 2 rejects. I don't know. Let's see what we have here. Okay, it's face down. Oh, it's got a custom label though, so I think I know what it is now. We've got Amazing Spider-Man. This is 606, so 607, which means the other one's the 606, and I guess it got declined. And this is in a 9.6. So again, this is from my personal collection. They were up there on the wall raw for quite a while. Decided to get them down and go ahead and just send them in. Let's see what we got docked on here. I'm sure there's no graders notes on these either. I mean, there's like miniature spine stress. No color rub. I'll be honest, like there's, again, like, I hate to say it, but it looks like the spine just not rolled, but has like a little spine indentation. You get them from whenever you stack your comic books kind of too high, they'll kind of bend up a little bit. If they're there for long periods of time, it can turn into a spine roll, but again, this is something that should have been pressed out, and just wasn't. Like this is probably a 9.8 with the right amount of attention on a press, which is unfortunate. I did set it as a 9.6, and it came back as a 9.6. I don't know if I'll crack and resubmit or just be happy with that. Which means the other one that I've thrown on the ground apparently here is probably, or not probably, is the 606, but probably had a similar issue. Comic issue puns. But to where it had some pressable defects that just came out. Or did not come out, rather. Alright, so, yep, we've got our 606 here. Just a lot of white on this cover, so obviously makes it a little more challenging to grade. Clean them up pretty nicely, but they show everything too, so you gotta be careful. So we got a little bit of a dent in Spider-Man's butt cheek. And yeah, there's lots of little like micro indentions on the surface of this book. And I said I'm getting the light to kind of go down the side of them. This is all stuff that really should press out. Oh yeah, on the back. I don't even know if I can get this here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's super bad on this one on the back. Again, I just don't imagine that these books were pressed at all. Let's see if I can get it up in the light. I might even need the light, honestly. Alright. And yeah, I mean, you see how that's kind of curled up there? Like, I can't even imagine that going to a pressing machine and coming out like that. So I don't know. I don't know if it got pressed and then somehow like slid off of where it was pressed at. The spine is very clean. But this is definitely one that I will press now that I have it back. Resubmit. If it comes back a 9.8, I will probably crack and resubmit the other one that I had there. as well, so that I'll have the matching set. I have the 60, I don't remember, the other Scott Campbell one that's right around in there that's out there right now that I pressed myself, so hopefully that one comes back where I want it. So kind of a disappointing submission. I knew I was going to be disappointed when I saw what was coming back. I'm probably more so disappointed now when I see some of these books. I sent a lot of books to this particular presser prior to getting my own pressing machine, and the level of defects that are still in a lot of these books, modern books that, you know, are getting pressed and cleaned, if it's really only going to get the waves out of the front book, I definitely wish I would have known more of that before going into it. So I would be very clear if you're going to send these off to somebody else, finding out exactly what they are going to do with each one of your books. Because a quick press without any specific target areas is really just going to make the book lay flat. You do get a lot of these modern books that get like little kind of waves in them. You can still get 9.8s with those waves, but obviously you want to try to reduce any kind of imperfections that may cost you the grade on there. So if they're only going to do the bare minimum level of pressing on the books, I think you're going to have a lot of them coming back. I do highly recommend the pre-screen option. It does add an additional 30 days onto your turnaround time, so do keep that in respects. But a lot of these books with these pressable defects, if I had not sent them in with pre-screen, they all would have come back. I would have paid the full price for them. They would have had a lower grade than what is possible for those particular books. So I am happy that I had that pre-screen option in there, because I do think out of those 16 books that we probably have half of those that with a real press clean and humidifying some of those spots, we can get them in that 9.8 category. And like I said, these two Spider-Man books aside, I obviously have big pressable defects that I think can really help bump that up. If you guys have used the presser in the past, been disappointed, or you really just absolutely love them, make sure you tag them down below so we can get those around. Like I said, I'm not going to be, so don't message me, I'm not going to be divulging who I've been using. I have no idea what has happened. These books have been out of his hands now for probably close to 6 months as well. So there's not a whole lot we can do in regards to that. So take it as a learning experience. I know I have. Like I said, I'm pressing my own books now, and I know a lot more about what to look for before even sending them in, and having realistic expectations when those books come back. Till next time, guys, Hobby Hero, out.